Everyone, welcome once again to Vicious Chats. Tim Vicious with me today. He is one of the biggest title collectors I've ever seen. He's the Bojangles champion. He's only one of two guys whose suit game I'm actually jealous on, the other being Nick Aldis, of course. Ladies and gentlemen, Jay-Z Graham, dude, it's great to have you on here, man.
Oh, and I appreciate it, brother. And let me just say, folks, for y'all at home, he has been absolutely patient with me. I have been in the mountains doing a little bit of hurricane relief, and I've had to postpone, sadly, numerous times. And Mr. Tim, let me apologize to you here publicly and professionally for not getting back to you in a timely manner last week. But cell phone service was hit or miss, and I apologize, brother, tremendously. And I appreciate you giving me not only first chance to be on your show, not only a second chance to be on your show, but a third chance to be on your show. And folks, he has been nothing but polite and just a completely, totally nice guy, which might steer clear from what from the vicious rants, brother. But dude, you have been absolutely patient with me, and I truly appreciate it. And I wanted to apologize publicly for what I had going on. I'm sure people understand, with me being busy, during the hurricane relief thing, which really affected the western part of my state. But brother, like I said, thank you for having me on. Thank you for being patient and working around my schedule. But hey, brother, I couldn't do this show from a middle school classroom where I was sleeping out on the air mattress, brother. I had to be here in my man cave, in my belt room, in what the Bojangles champion knows is his sanctuary outside of his church, brother. So I appreciate you, my man.
It's not a problem, man. I always try and accommodate everyone to the best of my abilities. If they say a Tuesday doesn't work, can we try a Thursday? I will work around. I try my best to work around other people's schedules as much as humanly possible to make it as comfortable and relaxed for whoever comes on. I'm never going to be like, no, this day is the only day or anything like that. But man, I'm glad you brought I'm glad you're doing good. It's, you were doing important work. So I'm not going to ever hold that against you. If it was just like you were blowing me off to go and try and get a run at a girl at the bar or something, maybe we might have some words, but depending on how the night went for you is on if we did.
Well, brother, like I said, I truly appreciate it. I love doing podcasts. I love being a guest on them, because, hey, brother, that's what I'm in the game for, brother. I'm in the game to advertise, my man. I'm in the game to get Bojangles to the masses, brother. So you can't turn down solid opportunities like this to be on an amazing podcast, my man. So thank you so much for just being patient with me, dude. It means the world to me.
More than welcome, man. So it's, glad you brought up Bojangles right at the start. I've been trying, man. There is no Bojangles near me in Erie. I'm in Erie, PA, so I don't know if you know exactly where that's at. It's as far as Pennsylvania shaped, Erie's in that small little area that's almost kind of looks like a chimney.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and unfortunately, there's no Bojangles near us. The best that we got, unfortunately, is a Popeyes or a Chick-fil-A, and it's just oh, God.
Trash, brother. Trash. The closest one to you is in Reading, Pennsylvania, and I don't know how far away you are from Reading. I know there's one in Reading, and thankfully, that fried chicken promoter himself, Jose Armario, brother, a stand-up, stellar guy, is working on getting it out to the masses. They're coming to Las Vegas. They're coming to New York. They're coming all over the place, brother. So be ready. One's going to be coming closer to you. You just got to be patient. It's well worth the wait. If you'll eat that other trash, you'll love Bojangles, brother. I can tell you that right now.
Yeah, I just checked now. Reading is a 5.5-hour drive from where I'm at. So that's all the way pretty much on the other side of the state.
Worth it. Absolutely worth it. Brother, like I said, I was in the mountains all weekend. The first stop I made leaving town was at a Bojangles, brother. I even went to one, I had a partner in crime up there in the mountains, went looking for one, sadly, due to the devastation, the loss of water, loss of power, the loss of all that stuff up there, brother. Every Bojangles around us was closed. We had to get on the other side, got to Boone, had a Cajun filet, had some bow fries, had some sweet tea, brother. Oh, restored the champ strength, brother. I needed it after long nights, long cold nights, brother. The champ got his strength back. He was, I don't want to say hulking up, but he was bojangling up, brother.
Jay-Z up.
Right.
Jay-Z up. That's what it was.
Jay-Z up. That works for me, my man.
There you go. That's like I said, you're a big title collector. Let me ask you, because I know a lot of people make these arguments back and forth all the time. Do you, and in your opinion, is it a belt or is it a title? Because
it is a belt, brother. It is a belt. It is a title belt. And that's some ridiculousness right now. All right, let's think about as people used to come to the ring to show the prestige of that championship. It was wrapped around their waist.
Yeah.
And of course, you had people like Flair. Flair carried it like the loaf of bread carrier he did with the
Flair or Harley carry it over their shoulder, cradling it. When I hold this, I am the baddest man on the planet. I dare anyone to try and challenge me. That's my best Harley race.
But as they came to the ring, it was proudly adorned around their waist, usually under a robe, but still proudly adorned around their waist. And, when you get into the Attitude era, and you would see people throw it over their shoulder, I would be wearing this around my waist right now if I could, but, I'm sitting here. I want people to see it. And if it's down below, people can't see it as well. But I prefer to wear this around my waist.
Yeah, I get that. I'm the same way. I look at it as it's a belt, but it's a title belt that talks about what kind of champion you are. I mean, no different than like what you would see with like boxing or like in MMA or fights or any other kind of combat sport like that. So
Correct.
in your opinion, what would you say are the top 3 best belt designs that you could think of? It doesn't have to be like this is number 1, this is number 2, just any 3 random ones that are your top 3 favorites.
So my favorite top 3 championship designs is going to be, first off, the big gold, then the big eagle, preferably the blue strapped block logo version, and then the domed globe. Those are my top 3 belt designs because they just scream champion. They just scream, I'm the best. They look like art, brother. They literally look like art on leather. And even the leather is art to a degree.
Yeah. I got to say my top 3, it's got to be the domed globe, the undisputed from like the 2002 era, the undisputed WWE title from 2002, and the Ring of Honor world title from like the 2012 to like 17 era. Those just looked like the most championship titles I've ever seen. And I'm not taking nothing away from like any of the other ones that have been out before that, like the Winged Eagle or the Big Gold, because those are legit looking. Like, damn, those are some nice looking. But just to me, those 3 look like the best out of, like, you see those are just like, yeah, you can tell that's a big time title.
And that's what a championship belt should look like. It should look like a piece of art wrapped around your waist. Obviously, I'm not the biggest fan of the WWE spinner, but as a gimmick to get your attention, brother, there is nothing better than a spinner. Let's be legit there for a minute. I can tell you from doing meet and greets, children, adults, they'll see this belt and they'll see it sitting there. And obviously when it's sitting there, it's not spinning. And then they'll walk up to it and they'll look at it and I'll spin it. And then they're hooked, they're snapped, they're into it, they love it, they dig it. But that's not what, a prestigious championship shouldn't be gimmicky. The reason why I say the big gold belt is because the original was hand carved. You know, it has that globe on it. It has that crown on it. It looks like something that means something. It looks like something that denotes a champion. The big eagle. You know, you're talking about the world champion. Of course, there's another globe. There's an eagle. There, and the reason why I prefer it to a winged eagle, which I own a copy of both, is because that eagle is so huge. That globe is so huge, and the belt is bigger. It it's not oversized, but it's a good size, and it looks like something a champion would wear. And then, of course, the dome globe. Once again, there you see a globe. There you see several flags of prominent countries where that belt was defended: Mexico, Japan, Australia, the United States, Canada, where wrestling is prominent. It just screams world champion. All three of those belts scream world champion, brother. And then the man that carried them looked absolutely mean, ferocious, and like somebody you wouldn't want to tangle with. And a championship is amazing, but it's only as great as the person that carries it.
Yeah, man, definitely. And so, what got you initially into belt collecting? Because I mean, I got a few, but they're not like the legit metal ones. I got the imitation one from the Platinum WWE ECW. My son's mom got that for me as a Father's Day gift because it was autographed by Tommy Dreamer. My son got me a WWE one that was he got out of the Toys R Us that was up here that went on clearance. And he was adamant. He drug my parents to get to the store. And he told me, I had to tell them, Dad needs this. He went out of his way to get that. So that one holds something special to me. And I got the new World Heavyweight one at a house show when they came here about a year ago.
I got you. So for me, I distinctly remember the Undertaker coming to the ring with the winged eagle. That's something that, hey, I started watching wrestling roughly 97 and 96, hit and miss in 96. I really got into it in 97. And I remember the Undertaker coming to the ring with that winged eagle. And, it drew my attention a little bit because back then, obviously we didn't have HD, so you really couldn't make the detail out in that championship belt. And the more I watched, the more I was intrigued by that detail of that belt. And, the winged eagle, which I respect its heritage. I respect what it is. It's a beautiful belt, and I don't mean to downplay that. But the the Raw after WrestleMania 14, when Vince gave Austin that first block logo Big Eagle belt, that blue leather and that belt just really clicked with me, because it had that croc skin back and that blue leather, the intricacy of the plates, the detail you couldn't make out. That's what snapped with me. And then I had to have a copy of that belt. And that was the first belt that I really remember collecting, was a toy version of that belt. And that just sparked it. That just got it going. That just got me hooked to the point of where I was like, oh yeah, I have got to get in on this. And, I had a winged eagle, a small toy winged eagle belt. And I collected a 4-pack of wrestling figures, which was, I want to say, Owen Hart, the Bulldog, British Bulldog with tag team titles. The Rock with
that figure set. I got that. I had that.
Yeah. And the Undertaker with the winged eagle, the Rock with the Intercontinental belt.
Yeah, and it was Rock when he was Rocky Maivia, and he had the frilly over the thing that Survivor Series.
Yeah, and that,
I remember that 4-figure set. I had that.
That was the at 13, 14 years old, brother, not it ain't like I could go out and get a job and buy belts. And, I remember going on eBay when we first got internet here, and I live out in the country, so it ain't like internet was something that was, readily available. I remember getting internet and going on eBay and seeing somebody have a real winged eagle for sale on eBay for it might have been $1,400, I believe. And I was just like, man, I would absolutely love to own that. And obviously that just wasn't ideal or going to happen for me. So of course I had to stick with the toy belts, and then you see Figures Inc. belts come out, and the big gold come out, which was a 1 millimeter thing, which is absolutely thin, big gold. And I thought that was it, brother. I thought that's an exact copy of the belt I want for $150. And brother, I was way wrong, way wrong.
I get that, man. I don't know if you remember, like that just opened up a whole floodgate of memories talking about the old classic figure sets. It wasn't PWI, but it was like those other newsstand wrestling magazines that would stay next to the PWIs. They would have these flyers saying, have your own custom figure titles made. Have your own custom titles made for your wrestling figures. Do you remember those?
Oh, I absolutely do. Yeah, I absolutely do.
I called the numbers that it would have, and they would get mad because I would try and make the order over the phone. They'd be like, no, you have to write this down and then send a check or a money order. Like, but your flyer said you could do the order over the phone. Well, no, we can't.
How about, so I was a big reader of WOW magazine. I don't know if you remember WOW magazine.
Oh, yeah.
And I would flip through those pages, and you would see the Figures Inc. advertisement for it, and all those belts, brother. I would have bought every single one of them, brother, if I'd have had the money, man.
Yeah.
Just an amazing time to be alive. Like, then you grow up and you get grown up money, and then you realize, well, I could buy better than that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and what was it? I did that. That was actually, because when I was a grown-up, I got my first big grown-up check. One of the first things I did was I bought one of those replica Winged Eagle ones that had like the belt, that had like the hook and loop for like a belt that looked like one, and I had it hang over my bed for like forever until it was until it eventually wore down, and it was just like, yeah, this baby's seen better days. Sorry, bud.
But dude, that's the fun of collecting. Like, I look back on those belts, and man, I would love to still have them. Obviously, I had one of those Winged Eagle belts, and it was probably the second belt I ever owned, other than that big eagle. And me and my cousin cut the plates up and made a hardcore title out of it. And I wish I still, because we duct taped it, and we would pull out the WOW magazine, and we would try to find pictures of that belt in the WOW magazine and try to replicate it and make it look as close to that as we possibly could. But that was the fun of growing up watching wrestling. That was the deal. He was a belt collector. I was a belt collector, and we just had a good time doing it, man.
Yeah, my mom got all sorts of mad when I was like 12 because she got me a toy, one of those toy foam type belts, and it looked like the Hogan 87 one. And I got my dad's duct tape, and I put duct tape all over it, and I got a Sharpie and wrote hardcore. And keep in mind, I'm a South Philly kid, so I grew up in South Philly, and she knew I would go out to the ECW shows. So she had a conniption fit because she was thinking I was trying to go and do the ECW stuff. You can't do that. You're going to hurt yourself. You can't do that stuff. You're going to wind up getting brain damage. And just like, you name it, you name the injury, she swore I was going to get
it. Let's be honest, man. Let's be honest. Me and my neighbor would jump on his trampoline and do all the moves that we saw on Nitro, all the moves that we saw on Raw. And then my cousin, God bless his soul, he got an ECW title belt, world title belt, had Taz on it. And I'd never heard of ECW, brother. I'm in North Carolina. It was WCW and the WWF. And then I started hearing about ECW and started watching that. And he got me hooked into it. And he's got the bright idea. He's like, hey, man, let's go get the mattress off my dad's bed, the mattress off my bed, and I would jump off the top of my roof onto these mattresses wearing my belt. And I'm like, what now? He's like, heck yeah, we're about to do this. So we went to his dad's trailer, got his dad's mattress, king size mattress off his bed, his twin size mattress off his bed, put them on the ground right next to the roof, and he jumped off of it wearing his belt. These are the kinds of things that we do. Lucky
The
that he didn't break a leg. Lucky he didn't break his neck. And that's just the things we did as kids. My parents would probably beat me to death if they knew the things that I did then. And they're
Oh
probably going to
God.
watch this.
Oh
Because
God, yeah.
my parents watch everything that I post on social media. So I'm sure they're going to watch this. And I might be 40 years old, but I'm still going to catch a beating from my mom and daddy.
Oh yeah, I get that, man. I'm gonna be 40 in April, and there are still times when I'll say or do something stupid, and next, my mom or dad, they'll pull out the parent voice. What? Nothing.
Yep.
I'll behave. I promise.
Yep.
I'm good. I didn't do it. Yeah,
It never
the two
changes,
most
man.
ignored warnings of our generation were: do not blow into the video game cartridge, and do not try these wrestling moves at home.
Definitely the most ignored. Definitely.
Yeah, those were hands down. They had to be. So so let me ask you from a belt collector standpoint. I know some people think like, do you ever think like, has anyone ever tried to try and oversell a title to where you're like, dude, no, you're trying to play the market and you're just going to wind up, you're going to screw yourself over or anything like that?
Oh, dude, absolutely, man. People all the time will take championship belts and put them out there as a ring use belt or a real belt. And, you have got to have an eye for these things. I had a guy in about 2013 send me a picture of a replica, Figures Inc. replica, big gold, and tell me it was the belt that Ric Flair wore in 1986. And I was like, brother, I don't think so at all. And he had like a $3,000 price tag on it. I said, I know where this belt is. So it had no, excuse me, it was probably 2014 or 15. I was like, I know where this belt is. I know who owns this belt, which was not well known at the time. I know where that belt is. This is not it. And he swore up and down that it was it. And you're talking about an all gold version of the big gold, which the original was sterling silver, which was gold plated. It happens constantly. There are con artists in every facet of life, and collecting championship belts is definitely one of them. And people collect belts that are made overseas, and they'll put them over as being something as good as a belt that's made here in the U.S. Brother, that's a fallacy. It's not true. There are definitely some belts that are made overseas that are a good quality, but compared to what you're going to get from somebody that makes them here in America, it's just not the same, brother. There's a reason why there's a price difference. I've held them. I've seen them. I own some of them. There is a difference in it. And it really irritates me that people will put their belts over as something that it's not. You're doing nothing but lying, stealing, and cheating, and it should not be done.
Do the lie, cheating and stealing in the ring, but don't do that with when you're trying to sell or when you're trying to sell merch. I get that, but that's like trying to think. What was it? My one cousin said it before. If you're going to be a thief, be an honest thief.
That's one way to put it.
Yeah,
that's one way to put it.
Yeah. So how many people have often come up to you to go and be like, hey, can we borrow one of yours for this show or that show coming up or anything like that?
Yeah, I actually have a belt, Gouge Pro Wrestling. My buddy Seymour Snot, who obviously
he's been on here.
An absolute great guy. He wrestles with Gouge. Gouge actually has one of my belts they're using right now for the North Carolina state title. A lot of people around this time of year ask to borrow belts for Halloween costumes. I specifically have replica belts for that reason. If they want to borrow them, I don't let my real belts go out just because you're talking about the difference in a few thousand compared to a few hundred. I've had people want to borrow belts for parties. I've had people want to borrow belts for shows, for wrestling shows. I've had people want to borrow belts for wedding proposals. It's a little bit of everything that people want to borrow a belt for. And I've had a lot of people that's tried to come for this Bojangles Championship belt. And brother, I'm sorry, I'm the one and only. deal with it.
Yeah, would never go and try and step on those grounds. That's all you, man. So, who's your favorite belt artist? Or let me ask you
Who's my
that.
favorite? Who's my favorite? What?
Your favorite trying to think the proper term, but the maker, so to
So
say, the guy who
top
would
rope,
make it.
top rope belts, hands down, is my favorite. I believe in their product. Every belt I've ever had from them has been top notch and stellar. Any issue of a belt that I've ever had with them, Randy has immediately addressed it and fixed it. He always delivers his belts in a timely manner. Jesse Justice, who does the artwork for his belts, is an actual artist, brother. And when I mean an actual artist, I mean he does not only just belt designs, but he also makes, comics. He does drawings. He does, I mean, you name it with a pen and pad, the man does it. He's an absolutely amazing man. And you've got Eddie and Chad who do leather for them, and they're absolutely stellar leather guys.
That's awesome, man. I'll make sure to check them guys out.
Absolutely.
So as far as designs go, let me ask you this from a fan perspective. What's your take about on how you see titles looking nowadays on TV where they're making more of an emphasis on having the logo be there as opposed to making designs? Because I mean, from a business point of view, I get it, but from an aesthetic point of view, sometimes it's just ugh, God, dog.
I mean, look, you talked about the Undisputed belt earlier, which I don't know if you can see, but I've got one right here above me because
oh yeah,
that was actually designed by a tattoo artist, and you could tell that by the stars and the designs that's in it, that it was not made by your typical belt maker artist. It was designed by a tattoo artist. But in this time and age where advertising is everything, I understand why you want your logo to be so predominant on your championship belt. Now, AEW, I believe, has done a great job of not only having their logo so predominantly affixed on that championship belt while still looking like a championship belt, that it's kind of like a blend of the traditional and current state of championship belts. But as far as the WWE championship goes, I understand it. You want people to know, because you still can't deny that it's a championship belt. Well, then you still can't deny that Cody Rhodes is the WWE champion because of the way that belt looks. But traditionally, I don't like it. I don't.
yeah. I
would
mean,
love to
like I said, from a business standpoint, I get it. You want your logo and you want your stuff advertised as big and bold as possible. But at the same time, I'm it doesn't look championshipy in a sense. If that's I think I just made a new word.
Correct. Yeah. And it does. It looks more like an advertisement. And, I don't want to say it's a turnoff for a championship collector because, I have two of them. I have the World Heavyweight and I have the Universal Championship belt because, I enjoy collecting. But as far as looking at it and enjoying it, it just doesn't do it for me like a Winged Eagle or a Big Eagle or the Undisputed or even the Hogan 84, 85, 86, 87s, because it just doesn't have that, that art on leather kind of look. It's just a belt, brother. That's all it is. It's just a big advertisement is all it is. And I would love for them to go back to a little bit more intricate designs, less jewels. I don't need all these diamonds and rubies on the belt. The big gold is a prime example where you've got rubies and diamonds, but they're not the focal point of that belt. It's just too much. It's too shiny. It's too glittery. It just doesn't look as prestigious as these old school belts.
Yeah, I get that, man. So, I mean, let me talk to you about your suit game because, like I said, man, dude, your suits are on point. It's I have never seen a bad picture of you wearing a suit, and You could wind up doing like some GQ stuff if you ever wanted to. I'm just waiting for the day you say, yeah, I'm gonna go and hit them up.
Hey, brother, I love my suits, man. I do. I do. And every podcast that I do, if it's going to be video, I'm going to be in a suit because
Yeah, I made sure specifically. I told you, yeah, this is gonna be video.
Oh yeah, you better believe I'm going to ask because if it's not, I might cut it. I might cut it some shorts and a t-shirt because ain't nobody going to see it. But man, I'm sorry, but if you're going to be the face of a company, which a champion should be, you've got to present the best, brother. I had to freshly shave. I trimmed the beard. I trimmed the goatee, brother. I even did my eyebrows for your show. And I don't have shoes on because I want people to make sure they see that I've got on them bojangles socks. Brother, you've got to dress the part. And I get so many compliments on my suits. This is sadly not one of my custom suits. It's one of my favorite suits, but it's not a custom suit. But brother, if you're going to be the champ, you've got to look the part. And this looks the part. It's actually green velvet.
And here's the funny thing. We didn't even communicate about what suit you were going to wear. You got your green one on, and I got my green scally on. And this is like my conversation hat. This is my rants hat. This is my karaoke hat. This is just like my go-to show hat. And it's just like we just naturally were like, yeah, okay, you're going to do green. All right, I got green.
Hey, brother, I look the sharpest in a bow, and I've never been a bow tie guy till I got this suit, but I look the sharpest in a bow tie, my man. So I had to make sure, I looked the part for your show, brother. So it worked out perfectly, and it's
like Doctor Who said, wear bow tie now. Bow ties are cool, right?
I was actually told the other day I look like the $1 Million Man prior to him getting rich, and I'm like, I appreciate it, which gave me an idea that I ain't gonna share here just yet. But yeah, I just, and it's like a green velvet suit. Who in the right mind wears a green velvet suit? Me, and I ain't in my right mind, that's for sure. But brother, if I'm gonna make an appearance, I'm gonna be in a loud, beautiful suit.
So, can you do $1 Million Man laugh?
I can't. I wish I could, but I sure can't. I can do a lot of things, but that ain't it.
You see, you're too good. You're too good of a person to be able to do that. You got to have like that nice evil cackle. It's like an evil cackle almost.
It is. It is absolutely evil. Now, if I wanted to, now forgive me for stepping off camera. If I wanted to, brother, I could do just like the evil, the $1 Million Man. I could do whatever I wanted. You know what I mean, brother? I can get that money just like that, my man. You know what I mean? It ain't like I'm not flush with cash, brother. Bojangles pays good and takes good care of your boy. You know what I mean? But you you don't show it off in people's faces, brother. But yeah, man, that's the deal. But forgive me for stepping off camera.
Nah, it's all good, man. It's all good. It's all good. I was expecting you to go into like next thing you know, out of nowhere, pull out the $1 Million championship and like go and cut a DiBiase promo.
So that is one belt that I have never owned, is the $1 Million championship.
Wow.
I have never had one. And I've had a lot of belts come in and out of my collection because people ask me all the time, well, how do you afford all these championship belts? So you flip belts. Like if I see a belt that's at a good deal, I'll scoop it up and I'll hold on to it, and then I'll flip it for a profit, and then I'll just keep doing it. But $1 Million belt, and the main reason I've never owned one is because if I were to get one, I would want one that's with Swarovski crystals, because the crystals that they put in the championship belts don't shine as good as those real crystals do. You got some here to do cubic zirconias in them and stuff like that. That's what I would want if I was going to keep one for my personal collection. But they very rarely ever pop up. And it's the $1 Million Man was around prior to me really being a wrestling fan. Like I said, I come in 96, 97 as a wrestling fan, and he was way out of the game by that point. You know, I know he was in the NWO in 96, but he just wasn't a thing when I was starting wrestling.
Well, I get that, man. Yeah, but I'm honestly, I figured like, I figured you would have had like $1 million championship at some point. Folks, if you're listening and you have a $1 million championship, hit Jay-Z Graham up. By all means, talk shop, work on business, talk business with him all day long if you gotta. Try and strike a deal. See if you can get
Hey, I'm game, brother. I'm game. I've got, let's see, I've probably got 30 some belts. I've got, I don't know how many on display right now. 16 on display. Excuse me, 18 on display. I've got more belts than I know what to do with right now, but I would gladly put $1 million belt on display in my man cave here.
I don't blame you, man. I'd do the same if I could. Yeah, you see, I got the little replica US title right here. The old one. That was from an old Halloween costume. So I was just like, you know what? That looks good. I'm going to just keep that up on the wall right there.
Absolutely. Hey, I can't say nothing. I've got plastic shelves with all my stuff on it, brother. I'm renting a place right now, and I ain't trying to put a bunch of money in it. So I just bought something cheap to put my belts on display.
I don't blame you, dude. I don't blame you. So let me ask you: when you go to talk to your tailor for a new suit, do you got ideas in mind, or do you just go and ask them like, "Hey, do you got anything new? Any new designs I'd like that you'd want to show me, or you just go and you shoot from the hip and tell them I want this, this, and this?"
So pretty much what I do is I just tell them a little bit about what I'm looking for. The last custom suit I got made, it was real easy. I just said, "Hey, I want this wrapper on a suit," and they obliged. I've got JD Hoop, Doug Halliday, who do absolutely phenomenal designs. They design stuff all the time. Doug Halliday designed my shoes that I wear on my suits. It's just super easy, brother. I let other people do the work. I pay them for it, and then I just go from there. And the good thing about JD Hoop is I just say, "Hey, man, this is my idea." I send them a short paragraph of what I'm looking for, and then the dude just spits it out. He just makes my thoughts into realism. It's absolutely amazing, and I can't say enough great things about him, and I just go from there.
That's awesome. So what's your closet look like? Is there any point where you're like, okay, I'm going to have you ever thought about like doing mismatch, like mix and match, like, all right, I'm going to wear this jacket, but instead of this shirt, I'm going to do this shirt?
No, I never, I never do that. And I've got one closet that is slap full of regular clothes. Well, I say regular clothes. I wear some loud shirts too. I've got one closet. Yeah, I got one closet that is just full of, the clothes I wear on a daily basis, and then I have another closet that is slap full of suits. I keep that separate because I only wear suits on special occasions, or if I'm going to do a show, or if I'm going to go out and about in a crowd. I would like the state fair here in North Carolina is going on right now, and I would absolutely love to be there. Sadly, I can't be there because of some personal issues I've got going on right now, and the work schedule. But hopefully next year I'll be able to make it. But that's just life, brother. That's just life.
Yeah. So excuse me. So has there ever been any time where you're like, yeah, this one's good, but I think this is just a one-time deal for this suit. Maybe after this, I'll give it to like Salval or maybe Goodwill. Have you ever had any of those?
So I've got one suit that I only wear for New Year's Eve. I've only worn it a handful of times, sadly. It's a beautiful suit. I've got another suit that I had to recently throw away because it got wore out. It was a disco ball suit that looked phenomenal. It got wore out. Oh, bro, let me tell you, I wore it to a silent disco at a church retreat called Fuge, and you dancing. It's the middle of summer. I'm all over the place. When I got done, the shirt that I wore underneath it, I could wring the sweat out of it, and it just my sweat ate that suit up. I actually cut the pants up into a pair of shorts so I could, because that is the from like the shins up to my upper thigh was completely just gone. So I was like, all right, I'll just make them into shorts and wear them around the house. So that's what I did. I still got the jacket. The jacket's still a little messed up. I'm going to probably end up throwing it away just because I had no use for it at this point. I need to replace it, but yeah, there are some suits that they don't hold up, brother.
Yeah.
They ain't made for daily wear.
Yeah, my suit game typically it looks almost kind of like 1930s, 1940s inspired. I'll have something. My suit game typically looks something like that. I'll have the button up and then I'll have the vest over it. And 9 out of 10 times you'll see me have the sleeves rolled up, but in the proper, like in the nice kind of way, rolled up, not like it just looks like a big wadded roll. Like they're folded over and cuffed and pressed nicely. That's my style. And if you see that and then you see all the tattoos with it, that kind of look, you're just like, oh, well, that guy's something. Because when you see all that and then the beard and one of the scallies that I have, because like you are with your suits, I'm like that with these scally hats. Yeah. So it's I got scallies. I got all kinds of different scallies for all different occasions. Summer, winter, festive, special occasions, and I will, like, depending on what I'm wearing, I'll be like, all right, am I wearing this one? Let me see what this one's like. This one, that one. Yeah. So, I'll get the main wardrobe set up. It's all the accessories that I have to go and bounce over.
Hey, dude, absolutely. And I'm the same way, brother. It's like I've got sunglasses, I've got shoes for different shirts. And that way, when I go out, my stuff is color coordinated and matches and it looks sharp. Now, depending on the weather, like if it's raining, I'm gonna be in boots because I can't stand to have my feet wet. But if it's a dry, sunny day, brother, I'm gonna be mix. I'm not going to say mix and match. I'm going to be sharp. I'm going to make sure everything blends to everything. The belt, the shoes, the shirt, the shorts, they're all going to match. And I'm going to look just as sharper than any other person that you're going to run into. Very rarely when I leave the house do I not get complimented on what I'm wearing, because it's going to stand out, it's going to match, and it's just going to look amazing.
When we're done this, I got to message you a picture. About a year or two ago, I had to go to a wedding and I was actually dressed better. I was actually the best dressed person there. And that's saying something, considering the groomsmen and the groom's side was all, the groom's bridal party was all nice tuxes and all, nice press suits and all, but mine was just like, everyone was just like, oh my God, look at him. Like, yeah, when we're done, I gotta show you that.
Oh yeah, please. You gotta show me, brother.
Yeah. Also, I just remembered, I gotta tell you, we were talking about this, the Crystal Light story. So, for those who may not know, to give a little bit of a backdrop, you pitched the idea to Conrad Thompson about mixing Crystal Light with vodka.
Oh Lord.
Yeah.
Oh,
I heard him go on how that was like a what, but neither here nor there. That I heard that, but I was listening to his show. I don't remember if it was his show with Bruce or Eric, but either way, I do home care for my parents also because they're getting up there in the years. And my mom, she's been diabetic since I can remember. And when it's summertime, she narrows her drinks down to Crystal Light or seltzer water, basically, because she doesn't want to spike her sugar. And it was for like a week and a half straight. She kept saying to me, my dad, don't touch the Crystal Light, don't touch the Crystal Light, don't touch the Crystal Light. And then the one day at dinner, right out of nowhere, she goes and says, oh, you can help yourself to some Crystal Light. My dad's jaw hit the floor, and without missing a beat, I do my best version of Bruce Pritchard's Jim Cornette impression. Well, goddamn! I can't touch that Crystal Light bullshit. That's for baby faces. Oh, my heel! I gotta drink that iced tea. It's unsweetened. No lemon or sugar. Sam, you motherfucker! And yeah, it was just like, what? Yeah. So now all the time, now the running joke from then on, it's always, oh, Tim, if you're a face today, you can have some Crystal Light. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I had to share that with you.
That's a point of contention between me and Conrad on who invented the Crystal Light and vodka. Now I'm not a drinker as bad as I used to be, brother, but dude, that's an invention of mine that he will never, ever, ever give me credit for, brother. Never, ever. You know, if you could see the group chat when it comes up, all my boys in the group chat are always taking Conrad's side of, you stole that from Conrad, bro. You know, prior to 2020, I would drink quite a bit. And I remember going to his house, and I think it was about 2018. I went to his house, and I walked into his house. I had a half gallon of vodka. I had several boxes, several bottles of Mio, and several liters of water in this book bag. And I had my cup. So I pull my Jay-Z cup out. I pull my bottle of vodka out. I start pouring the bottle of vodka in. And I'm pouring. And Conrad looks at me and I'm pouring. Put that up. And then I take a bottle of water. And I don't know how much vodka I put in there. Usually what I would do is I would take my the Yeti cups. And you know that they got the bottom of the Yeti cup which you could put in a cup holder. And then you had the upper part at the, it gets wider at the top, right?
Yeah.
So I'd fill the whole bottom up with vodka, the whole bottom, and then I'd put ice in it, and then I'd fill the rest up with water. And of course, it's going to be a little strong. So then you could offset the strength with this squirtable Mio. So I would squirt enough Mio in there to where you could drink it, and it's no issues. And they ragged the teetotal crap out of me for it. Like, what in the world are you doing? And I'm just like, don't hate it till you try it. Because, brother, it comes in all kinds of flavors. Like you said, you get sweet tea, fruit punch, grape, orange, brother, you name it. And not only that, but you can also get the energetic kind, brother. They got some of caffeine and B vitamins in it. And you could really just stay up all night and drink. And that was my deal, brother. And so they crapped all over me for the longest time for doing it. And then they got on board. And now, now they're buying each other bottles of Mio and vodka for their birthdays, knowing good and well the champ come up with it. And it's, that's just the deal, man. And it's, and now I don't drink as much as I used to anymore. I'll have a beer or two and that's it. But still, they take the credit for it. I know the deal. I know the truth. I sent Conrad a text message and he said, make sure you let them see the light that I'm the one that made it. And I was like, and of course I told him I was, but nah, your champ is the one that made it. I'm the one who come up with it. But hey, bro, that's neither here nor there. I don't care. Take the credit for it. It's whatever, man. But it's definitely something that I used to do on a regular basis quite often.
It's all good, man. It's been 13 years since I touched a drink, but the most I do, I'll have I'll get the 0 proof bourbon and I'll throw back like 2 fingers worth every now and again. That's about it. But man, I say this to everyone when they come on. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to come on here. You could have been out there doing a million different other things, but you chose to sit here you always got my thanks for that, and you're always more than welcome to come back anytime. Any socials, anything you want to give a plug on, by all means, the floor is yours.
Hey, brother, like I said at the beginning of this, I appreciate you being patient, waiting for me. My life has been a little bit hectic since that hurricane. Thank you so much for just being chill, not getting upset with me. So, with that out of the way, you can find me pretty much on all socials with the Bojangles Champion. If you can't find the Bojangles Champion, it's JZ, the two letters, a J and a Z, underscore Graham, GRAHAM. And once you find me, make sure you go to the closest Bojangles you can find. Tag me, tag Bojangles. You're going to get an instant retweet and like anything you tag me and Bojangles in, especially if you're putting Bojangles over, brother, because I am after that TV commercial. I am after them billboards. I am an official spokesperson. I am an official brand ambassador for Bojangles, but I want to take this so much further, and I can't do that without your people's help, brother. So I appreciate you helping me get the word out about myself and Bojangles to the masses.
More than welcome, man. You heard the fella. If you go to Bojangles, make sure you hit him up, JZ underscore Graham. Dude, thanks again for taking the time. I do appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on.